It all started with a hookup. Maya wasn't the type for one-night stands, but college had a way of making people do things they normally wouldn't. It was Friday night at Hillsdale University. The music was loud, the beer was cheap, and the air was thick with sweat, hormones, and bad decisions. That's when she saw him, Jordan. Lean, sharp-jawed, and just the right amount of messed up. Their eyes locked across the room. One drink turned into three. Flirting turned into heavy touching, and soon they were stumbling back to his dorm in Oak Ridge Hall, laughing and kissing under flickering streetlights. His room was on the third floor, room 309. They didn't talk much, just exchanged hungry looks and impatient fingers. The door slammed. The lights stayed off, clothes hit the floor, the bed creaked, and Maya drowned herself in the thrill of temporary escape. But she never saw him again after that night. Not because he ghosted her, but because room 309 didn't exist. The next morning, Maya woke up alone in the room. Her clothes were folded neatly on the chair, which struck her as odd. Jordan didn't seem like the neat type. The place smelled like old wood and stale air. She figured he'd gone out early, but something felt off. The air was cold, too cold, like someone had left the windows open in winter, except it was still September. She got dressed and walked out into the hallway. It was quiet, unnaturally so. Even at 7 a.m., dorms buzzed with noise, doors sang, showers running, people arguing. But here, silence. She reached the elevator, pressed the button. Nothing. She sighed and took the stairs down. At the front desk, the sleepy RA looked up from his phone. Hey, she asked, does Jordan live in 309? The RA furrowed his brow. What room? 309, third floor. He shook his head. We don't have a 309. Maya laughed awkwardly. No, I was just there last night. He looked more serious now. Oak Ridge only goes up to room 308. We had a room 309 years ago, but after what happened, they sealed it off. A cold shiver ran down her spine. What happened? The RA hesitated. You're not supposed to go up there. Digging into the past. Maya couldn't let it go. She tried texting Jordan. Nothing. No social media, no phone number, no last name. It was like he vanished. Or never existed at all. She went to the campus library and dug through the archives. A few hours in, she found it. Student found dead in dorm room 309, a headline from 8 years ago. Jordan Myers, sophomore, business major, handsome, popular, killed himself in room 309 after a string of mental breakdowns, supposedly caused by sleep paralysis and night terrors. Before he died, he told his roommate that something in the room watched him every night and whispered through the walls. No one believed him until they found his body nailed to the ceiling. Room 309 was closed permanently, or so they thought. Maya's heart dropped. The Jordan she slept with looked exactly like the photo in the article. Same jawline, same smirk, same eyes. She had spent the night with a ghost. The haunting. After that, things got worse. Every night, Maya woke up at 3:09 a.m. without fail. Sometimes she'd hear the whispering, faint at first, like a breeze under the door, then louder, harsher. Words she couldn't understand, spoken in a voice that sounded like static and death. Other nights, she'd see a shadow standing at the foot of her bed. Just standing, watching. And always at 3:09, she tried burning sage, sleeping with lights on, even moving dorms, but it followed her. One night, she woke up in a cold sweat. Her body was frozen. Sleep paralysis. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe, and there he was, Jordan, crawling on the ceiling, eyes rolled back, limbs jerking like a broken marionette. He dropped from the ceiling like a spider and landed silently beside her, bent down to her face. I'm not done with you, he whispered, his voice layered with dozens of others. And then he vanished. The final descent. Desperate, Maya sought help from a local paranormal investigator, an old woman named Lenora who had dealt with the campus before. You let it in, she told Maya coldly. It wore his face because that's what you desired. Lust is an open door. Now it's inside you. Lenora performed a cleansing ritual, chanting in a language Maya didn't recognize. The lights flickered. Maya convulsed. Then, stillness. It's gone, Lenora said, exhausted, but don't ever go back to that room. Epilogue, 1 year later. Maya transferred to a new college, new life, new friends, but the nightmares still linger sometimes. She never hooks up randomly anymore, never drinks too much, never walks alone after dark. But just last week, she got a text from an unknown number. Miss me? The contact name appeared on her screen as Jordan, room 309. She deleted the message, but that night at exactly 3:09 a.m., her phone lit up by itself. Incoming call, room 309. She let it ring and ring and ring until it stopped. But she knew. It would call again. College, the place where dreams are built, memories are made, and for some, nightmares never end. Every campus has its whispers. The haunted dorm room, the cursed statue, the library no one enters after midnight. At Wexley University in Oregon, it was the Omega Delta Theta fraternity house, better known by students as the Final Pledge House. It wasn't the peeling paint or the boarded up windows that unnerved people. It was the stories. Stories about students disappearing during Hell Week, about pledges who were never seen again, about a room in the basement that no one, not even police, would dare enter after what happened in 1996. No one stayed long in Omega Delta Theta, except for Kevin. And this is his story. Kevin Miles transferred to Wexley University in the fall of 2022, a junior majoring in psychology with a full scholarship. He wasn't the typical frat guy. Quiet, observant, and a bit of a loner, Kevin joined Omega Delta Theta because housing was scarce and the fraternity offered him a free room. Don't go in the basement, the house president had told him, half joking, half serious, on move-in day. We keep it locked anyway. Hazing days are over. Kevin laughed politely but didn't think much of it. The house, despite its reputation, was full of friendly guys who were more interested in gaming and parties than ghosts. Within days, Kevin felt at home. That changed the first night he slept there. He woke at 3:07 a.m. to the sound of scratching. At first, he thought it was rats in the walls, but then he noticed it was rhythmic, deliberate. Scratch, 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 scratch. It came from beneath the floorboards, from the basement. Kevin tried to shake it off, but the sound came every night. Same time, 3:07 a.m., and with it came the whisper. Pledge, just once. Faint, almost inaudible. He thought it was a prank at first, but his roommates swore they heard nothing. On the fifth night, Kevin had enough. Armed with a flashlight, he crept downstairs. The house was dead silent. He stood before the basement door, its handle rusted, a rust-colored smear trailing down from the keyhole. To his surprise, the door was unlocked. Dust choked the air as he descended. The wooden steps groaned under his weight. The basement smelled of mold, rust, and something else, something metallic and old like dried blood. He swung the flashlight beam around. Empty, except for a single wooden chair in the center, facing the far wall. The wall was covered in names, hundreds of them, scratched in with fingernails, it seemed. He moved closer and saw his name. Kevin Miles, 2022. His heart skipped. He staggered back, almost tripping. Then he saw the chair had restraints, leather straps, worn and stained. Suddenly the door slammed shut behind him. He turned and ran, pushing against it. It wouldn't budge. Then the whisper returned. Pledge, sit. Kevin turned slowly. The chair was now facing him. Empty, but something was there. A shape, a distortion in the air, like heat rising from asphalt. A hand gripped his shoulder. He screamed. They found him the next morning, unconscious at the top of the basement stairs. His hands were raw, his nails bent backward. He'd scratched at the door all night. The fraternity chalked it up to a stress-induced episode. Kevin was transferred to campus counseling, but he never told them the full truth. Because something followed him. The whisper didn't stop, even in his new dorm. Pledge, he started to see things. Shadows standing in corners, faces in mirrors that weren't his. He stopped sleeping. His friends said he changed, became hollow, empty-eyed. Desperate, Kevin dug into the fraternity's history. Omega Delta Theta was founded in 1899. It had a dark past. Pledges were once subjected to violent hazing rituals. In 1996, a student named Daniel Greaves went missing during Hell Week. The investigation was closed after a month with no leads. But Kevin found a clue in an old campus newspaper. A blurred photo of the basement wall. Daniel Greaves' name was scratched into it, just like his. Kevin realized the fraternity didn't just haze, it offered sacrifices. Once every few years, a new pledge would snap, go missing, or fall into madness. The house would then be quiet, only quiet, until the next name appeared on the wall. He had to end it. Kevin returned to the house one last time, armed with salt, candles, and a hammer. He'd read that spirits tied to places could be banished by desecrating the object that bound them. He descended into the basement again. The chair was waiting. So were the whispers. Sit. He ignored them, began smashing the wall. Names crumbled with every strike. He poured salt across the floor, chanting what little Latin he could muster from a ritual he found online. The lights flickered, then the screams started. Voices, dozens of them, shrieked from the wall. The temperature dropped. His breath fogged. A wind howled from nowhere. The chair rose from the ground, hovered, then launched toward him. He ducked. It shattered against the wall. And then silence. Kevin stood alone in the dark, heart pounding. The names on the wall were gone. The air felt lighter. He left Wexley that night, never returned. The fraternity was shut down the following semester after a gas leak was reported in the basement. But Kevin knows it wasn't gas. He saved the next pledge from becoming part of the wall. Epilogue. Today, the Omega Delta Theta house stands abandoned. Weeds crawl over its steps. The windows are boarded, the doors sealed. But sometimes, when the moon is full and the night is quiet, if you listen closely near the basement door, you'll still hear it. Pledge.